Bible story. God provides water, manna, and quail. God's people were on a journey to a land they would call their very own. God promised them that they would have their own land, so this became known to as the land of promise or the promised land. For years, the people had been slaves in Egypt, but now they were free and on their way to a new home. A man named Moses was their leader, and Moses' brother Aaron was his helper. To get to their new home, the people had to walk many miles across the desert. After a few days of travel, the people were very thirsty. The only water they found tasted so bitter that they could not even drink it. The thirsty people began to complain. They remembered their life back in Egypt. They began remembering the good things about Egypt that they missed and forgot about the way Pharaoh treated them so badly. When the people began complaining and wishing they could go back to Egypt, Moses prayed to God about it. He asked God to help the people. God answered Moses' prayer. He gave Moses a piece of wood and told him to touch the bitter water with it. When Moses touched the wood to the water, the water changed from bitter to sweet, just as God said it would. Now there was plenty of water for everyone. God continued to take care of his people on their journey. During the day, God placed a pillar or tower of cloud in front of them so they would know the correct way to go. Even though they were in a desert, He led them to other places where there was plenty of water to drink. After more than a month, the people of God arrived in a place called the Desert of Sin and made camp. Soon, all of the food was gone and the people began to doubt that God could take care of them. They complained to Moses and his brother Aaron. Sadly, they even told Moses that their lives were better back in Egypt, where they had been slaves. They said Egypt was better than the desert. But God never forgot his people. God told Moses that food was about to rain down out of heaven. As Moses and the people looked out into the desert, they saw a big cloud. They knew that the glory of God was in the cloud. And God did just as He said. Every evening, a great flock of quail, birds, would fly into the camp. The people would gather them and eat them. And in the morning, when the people woke up, little white flakes like wafers covered the ground. The people called this manna. Each day, they gathered the manna and took it home to make bread. But God told the people to only gather enough manna to feed their family. God wanted them to do exactly as He said and remember that He would take care of them. But some of the people did not listen. They were greedy and gathered more than God had told them to. They thought they could save some for later. This seemed like a good idea at first, but then they noticed that the extra manna began to rot and stink. Soon the manna was full of worms. These people realized that they should have listened to God. There was another way God wanted the people to remember Him. He told the people that the seventh day of the week would be a day of rest. They were to stop working on this day and make it special. This was a holy day set aside for God, and it was to be called the Sabbath day. There would be no manna on the ground on the Sabbath day. Instead, God told the people to gather extra manna the day before the Sabbath and to prepare bread and save it to eat on the Sabbath. Unlike the other days, the extra manna did not rot and fill with worms. But once again, some of the people did not listen to God. They did not gather extra manna on the day before the Sabbath day. On the Sabbath day, they came to gather manna, but there was none. They really wished they had obeyed God. For many, many years, God would provide manna and quail for the people. If they obeyed God, they did not have to be hungry. To help them remember this in the years to come, God told Moses to put some of the manna in a jar to keep in their packs as they traveled on to the promised land. That manna did not go rotten. In fact, it stayed in the jar for many years.